parking lot was nearly empty when Marcus heard his daughter's voice cut through the cold evening air. "Daddy, please help her." He turned to see Emma pointing toward the far corner where two men were pulling a woman toward a dark sedan, her muffled cries barely audible as she struggled against their grip. Marcus's heart hammered in his chest.
He had every reason to walk away.
A single father working 2 jobs to keep food on the table couldn't afford trouble, but Emma's eyes were locked on him, waiting to see what her father would do. If you love stories that restore your faith in humanity, you're in the right place. Subscribe to Sage Stories and join our community of kindness. Hit that like button and share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Marcus Thompson had learned early that life doesn't hand you second chances on a silver platter. After his wife Sarah passed away 3 years ago from cancer, he'd been left to raise their 7-year-old daughter Emma alone. The grief had nearly crushed him. But every morning when Emma climbed into his bed and wrapped her small arms around his neck, he found a reason to keep going. He worked as a custodian at Riverside Elementary during the day and drove for a rideshare service most evenings, piecing together enough to cover rent, bills, and Emma's needs. There was never anything left over, but they had each other, and that was enough. That Tuesday evening in late October, Marcus had just picked Emma up from the after-school program. She was chattering about a science project involving volcanoes as they walked through the grocery store parking lot, her hand tucked safely in his. Marcus was mentally calculating whether he could afford the extra box of cereal. Emma loved when her voice suddenly changed. "Daddy, look. That lady needs help." Marcus followed her gaze. About 50 yards away, near a dark blue sedan, he could make out the silhouette of a woman being restrained by 2 men. One had his hand over her mouth. The scene sent ice through Marcus's veins. Every instinct told him to scoop up Emma, get to his car, and drive away. He wasn't a hero. He was a tired, broke single dad who couldn't afford to get hurt or arrested or involved in anything that might jeopardize his jobs. Emma depended on him completely. What if something happened to him? Who would take care of his little girl? But Emma was tugging at his sleeve now, her voice rising with urgency. "Daddy, please help her, please." Marcus knelt down and looked into his daughter's brown eyes, so much like her mother's. Sarah had always said that kindness wasn't about convenience. It was about choosing to do the right thing even when it cost you something. He taught Emma to stand up for others, to never walk past someone in need. And now his daughter was watching to see if he meant those words. "Stay right here, Emma, don't move." "I mean it." Marcus pulled out his phone and thrust it into her hands. "If anything happens, you call 911. Understand?" Emma nodded, her face pale but determined. Marcus's legs felt heavy as he walked toward the sedan. His mouth was dry. The 2 men were bigger than him, younger, wearing dark hoodies. As he got closer, he could see the woman's terrified eyes above the hand clamped over her mouth. She was probably in her 30s, dressed in business clothes, and fighting with everything she had. "Hey!" Marcus's voice came out stronger than he felt. "Let her go, now." The 2 men turned, and Marcus saw the flash of calculation in their eyes. They were sizing him up, deciding if he was a threat. "Mind your business, old man," one of them growled. "Can't do that." Marcus kept walking forward, his heart threatening to burst from his chest. "People are watching. Police are already on their way. You don't want this." It was a bluff. Marcus had no idea if anyone else had seen what was happening. The parking lot was mostly empty, and the few cars around seemed occupied with people loading groceries, oblivious to the drama unfolding. But he kept his voice steady, kept moving forward. The second man's eyes darted around the parking lot nervously. "Come on, man. This isn't worth it." For a moment that stretched like eternity, nobody moved. Then Marcus heard it, sirens in the distance growing louder. Someone had called the police. The 2 men heard it too. They released the woman and took off running, disappearing between the rows of parked cars. The woman collapsed to her knees, sobbing. Marcus rushed forward and helped her up, his hands shaking now that the adrenaline was fading. "Are you okay? Are you hurt?" She shook her head, unable to speak, tears streaming down her face. By the time the police arrived 2 minutes later, Marcus had guided her to sit on the curb. Emma had run over despite his instructions to stay put and was holding the woman's hand, talking to her in that gentle way children sometimes have with people in pain. The officers took statements. The woman, whose name was Jennifer Chen, explained that the men had tried to carjack her. She was a vice president at Chen Technologies, a major tech company in the city, and she couldn't stop thanking Marcus. She pressed her business card into his hand. "Please, if there's ever anything I can do for you, anything at all." Marcus pocketed the card politely, knowing he'd never use it. People said things like that in emotional moments. He'd done what anyone should do. That was all. The next morning, Marcus was cleaning the hallway at Riverside Elementary when Principal Patterson called him into her office. "Marcus, there's someone here to see you." Confused, Marcus followed her back to the main office. Standing there in an expensive suit was Jennifer Chen, but she wasn't alone. Beside her stood an older Asian man with silver hair and kind eyes. "Marcus Thompson?" The man extended his hand. "I'm David Chen, Jennifer's father and CEO of Chen Technologies. My daughter told me what you did last night." Marcus shook his hand awkwardly, acutely aware of his janitor's uniform and the cleaning cart he'd left in the hallway. "I just did what was right, sir." "What you did was extraordinarily brave," David Chen said quietly. "My daughter is my whole world. You risked your safety to protect her when you had every reason to walk away. Jennifer told me you have a daughter too, that you're raising her alone." Marcus nodded, unsure where this was going. "I did some research this morning," Mr. Chen continued. "You work 2 jobs. You're a good man, Marcus. Your employers speak highly of you. Your daughter's teachers say she's a wonderful, kind child. You're teaching her the right values. But you're stretched too thin and I want to help." "Sir, that's really not necessary. Please let me finish." Mr. Chen's eyes were gentle but firm. "Chen Technologies has an opening for a facilities manager at our main campus. It's a full-time position with benefits, health insurance, retirement plan. The salary is $85,000 a year. The job is yours if you want it. No more working 2 jobs. More time with Emma. And we have an excellent on-site childcare program where she can stay after school until you're done with work." Marcus felt the room spin. $85,000? Health insurance? It had to be a joke. People didn't get opportunities like this. Not people like him. "I know this seems sudden." Jennifer spoke up, her eyes still red from crying. "But my father and I talked about this all night. You didn't help me because you wanted something in return. You helped because it was right. Because you're raising your daughter to understand that we have to look out for each other. That's the kind of person we want at our company." Marcus thought about the years ahead. The endless double shifts. The exhaustion. The worry about what would happen if he got sick or hurt and couldn't work. He thought about Emma growing up barely seeing her father. About missing her school plays and parent-teacher conferences because he was always working. And he thought about Sarah, about what she would tell him to do. "I don't know what to say." Marcus's voice cracked. "Say yes," Mr. Chen smiled. "Start Monday. We'll work out all the details." 3 months later, Marcus stood in the audience at Emma's school winter concert, tears in his eyes as he watched her sing with her class. For the first time in 3 years, he hadn't missed a single school event. He had health insurance. He had savings starting to build in the bank. Emma was thriving in the after-school program, making friends and getting help with homework. More than any of that, he was present. He was there for bedtime stories and Saturday morning pancakes and homework help and all the little moments that make up a childhood. Jennifer had become a family friend. She stopped by sometimes to have dinner with them, and Emma adored her. Last week, Mr. Chen had told Marcus he was being considered for a promotion. "You've exceeded every expectation," he'd said. "But more importantly, you've reminded everyone here what integrity looks like." Sometimes Marcus still couldn't believe how one moment of choosing courage over fear had changed everything. He'd thought he was just helping a stranger in a parking lot. He hadn't known he was also helping himself and Emma, but that's how kindness works. It ripples outward in ways we can't predict, touching lives and creating connections we never see coming. The truth is, we all face moments when we have to choose between what's easy and what's right, between walking away and stepping forward, between protecting ourselves and protecting others. Marcus could have kept walking that night. He had every excuse, but he chose to act, and in doing so, he taught his daughter the most important lesson of all, that one person's courage can make all the difference. When the concert ended and Emma ran into his arms, Marcus held her tight. "I'm so proud of you, sweetheart." "I'm proud of you too, Daddy," she whispered back. And in that moment, Marcus understood something profound. We never know how our acts of kindness will return to us. Sometimes they come back in ways we never imagined. But even if they didn't, even if that parking lot had ended differently, it still would have been worth it. Because the person we become when we choose kindness is worth more than anything else. So here's my question for you. What would you have done in that parking lot? When was the last time you chose courage over comfort? Share your stories of kindness in the comments below. Let's remind each other that there are still good people in this world. People who step forward when others need them. Because every act of courage, no matter how small it seems, has the power to change someone's life, maybe even your own.